The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I'm your host, Bill Knapik. Thank you for joining us here today on this wonderful weekend. That's right. Real Estate Matters is here again with show number 530. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, you can simply go to stewart.com/radio. That's right, stewart.com/radio, where you can not only hear the show, but you can see the show. You can also access the show archives. So we have super guests today. I think it's going to be very informative for a variety of reasons. We're going to start with a real estate professional. His name is Randall Martin. The company is CB&A Realtors. Randall, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it, Bill.
Well, here you are. Let's tell people, first of all, you are a real estate professional. You are a realtor. And let's tell people about CB&A Realtors.
CB&A Realtors. It stands for Chance Brown and Associates. And we are here to help people find their way home. We have 5 offices in the Houston market, plus 1 in Austin, and close to about 700 agents.
And the company is growing like crazy, right?
Like wildfire, sorry. Thankfully, we're consistently in the HPJ top places to work, Houston Chronicle top places, the Inc. 5000. So, leadership starts at the top, and he creates a great environment for us to be ourselves and take care of our people.
And one of the interesting things is you have been a real estate professional.
It's been about 18 and a half years.
So the ever-changing dynamic world of real estate, it has changed a lot in 18 years, right?
It has. I mean, the market decided to crash right when I got my real estate license. So we went through the 2008, then we climbed back up. It always is going to move up and down, but real estate's been good in our area in general.
Let's tell people, as you are helping buyers and sellers all the time for these many 18 years, as far as geographically, as people are listening, what are the areas that you're serving the most, let's say?
I live in the southeast side of town, and I focus a lot of my business in that area, but Houston, well, there's a saying, Houston's an hour and a half away from Houston, and so it's a large place, and we do service clients all around. We have clients all around town, but primarily I'm on the southeast, and I'm also the director of the southeast office, which is right on the Pearland Friendswood borderline.
Especially those listening outside of the Houston area, as a lot of people listen to the show on the internet, the southeast part of town, how it relates to, they're probably familiar with Houston, let's say a downtown. Let's tell them the cities that incorporate the southeast.
Southeast is going to be a collective of suburbs: Pearland, Friendswood, Pasadena, Deer Park, Clear Lake, which is actually Houston for those who don't know, but it's the Clear Lake area, League City. It goes on and on.
And and the point being too is it's a big chunk of geography, and also diverse in terms of what people can buy or sell.
Absolutely. And let me not forget over Baytown, Mont Bellevue. It stretches all that way. And what we find is, just in the time that I've been in the industry, is Houston's growing. If people aren't aware, we're continually
still growing,
and it's projected to continue growing quite a bit. And matter of fact, in one of the Stewart offices in Pearland, there's a thing that says buy land. They're not making anymore. People are moving outwards and finding that, especially when work from home became more popular, the suburbs became even more popular. More in a lot of ways, people are able to get a lot of home at a good value, and so a lot of the communities started seeing a heavier focus on these master plan communities that had everything involved. You had schools there, you had shopping there, restaurants around, everything. So
in the southeast area of Houston, as it is the fourth largest city, there's diversity in terms of the type of home, the type of environment. There's water properties, there's condos that are on the water or with a water view. Let's tell people some of the options. If someone said, hey, Randall, I don't know what city I want to live in necessarily in the southeast or what town, what would you recommend if someone had, I don't know, $400,000, and let's say it's even be more specific, it's a cash deal, and they said, hey, I have $400,000 in the area of your expertise. Where should I buy, and what type of home should I buy? Should it be a condo on the water? Should it be?
You hit the nail on the head. There are going to be a lot of options. And that's one of the reasons I personally love working and living in the Southeast is we can be at Clear Lake in 15 minutes. We can also be at the medical center in 15 minutes on that. So with that type of a budget and that type of a range, it really, you want to find out what someone's looking for in their lifestyle, because you will be able to get close to the water. There are condos available. There are townhomes available. There's single family homes. We're seeing a lot of multi-generational homes becoming popular. You're going to really have your pick of what you want down in the Southeast. It's not, there's property with a little bit of land, and I'm not talking acreage. But there is, but for focusing on the scenario you gave me, I could put you in Clear Lake. I could put you in Pearland. I could get you inside the loop if you want to. I mean, you can do a lot with $400,000.
Well, that's a good point. It's good to know that here in Houston, in the area, and as we're talking about the Southeast, that $400,000 can buy something nice. It's all relative, whatever nice is to you.
Absolutely.
But we could get something for $400,000, and then the more money, our options might even open up, I would think.
You're absolutely correct. We definitely can provide lots of options in our area for that budget. But yes, you can easily go more. You can always go more, but you can also go less. We have options there are options available that are under that price range as well. So may not be sitting, front row on Clear Lake, but they're there.
Well, as you're leading the office in your area, what are some of the things that you see people when they want to go to the area? What are the drivers that bring them to the Southeast?
Well, I can start by answering for myself. I like seafood. I like eating seafood on a deck, which I can go to Clear Lake. I got Sam's Boat on the water over there. I got different places I can go to. Some of my favorite pizza joints. Galveston is a day trip from the Southeast. If you're on the far north side of town, you might consider having to stay in Galveston if you're going to go spend a day before you drive back home the next day. I'm down there in less than an hour.
Not to mention the Space Center too.
We like going to Space Center. We actually have a lot of clients and friends that work for NASA or contracted there in NASA, and so we have that. That's a great place to take kiddos if you got family. Lots of parks, lots of things to do. I feel like it's a very accessible part of town. I might be biased because I've lived there my whole life, but you don't have to travel far to get to things.
We're talking with Randall Martin. His company is CB&A Realtors. And that's the other thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, Randall, but there's a lot of development that's going on in terms of businesses and the entertainment world, and a lot of venues that people, as they build up going south on 45, as far as things to do. There's a lot of stuff going on, I'm hearing.
There's actually a pretty good hotspot that's popped up around the League City area, right on that section of 45, around the NASA Parkway, and even a little further south. There's a Great Wolf Lodge that's opening. There's Top Golf over there. There's lots of. They opened a place I haven't gone to yet. I have to make a confession, Bill. I have not tried pickleball. I have not. I might be the only person in America that has not hit a ball with the what do you call it? A paddle? A pickleball paddle? I don't know yet. I'm told that once I do it, I'm going to be addicted. And there's a big place called Chicken and Pickle. I don't even know. I haven't even been there yet. But
Chicken and Pickle.
I can only imagine that they have chicken and it's not just pickles on your sandwich. I have a feeling. No, there's pickleball courts.
Well, it's interesting that pickleball was mentioned just last week in my world, and I hear about it all the time. However, you and I may be the only two that haven't played it, because I haven't played it, and I don't know if that's going to happen. However, going back to our conversation, though, you did make me hungry with pizza, looking at the water, and seafood, looking at the water. All that's okay. Mm-hmm. Give us an idea as far as people that are moving in the area, the Southeast, as you're talking about, that are not from Houston? Are you seeing people moving from other states, other places that are calling you up and saying, "Hey, Randall, I need a place to live"? What's going on there, if any?
We are hot and heavy with a client right now relocating from Colorado. And she's purchasing down in the southeast side of town as well. We deal with a lot of job transfers, a lot of people moving in. As you mentioned, the Space Center, we have a lot of that. But we do have quite a few people that move over. What I hear and what I experience is that you can often get more home for your dollar here than you can in other states.
I hear that also, yes.
So I've never.
It must be true.
Yeah, I've never owned a home in other states, just like I haven't played pickleball. But I hear.
You hear all about it.
Yes.
In the meantime, one of the other things I want to mention is, as a real estate professional here in the business, 18 years, so many things have changed. And when you started, I guess there was no social media in terms of what we know it to be today, electronically, various platforms. But how do you use social media, if you use it at all? And what do you like the best? Which platform serves you the most?
It's a great question, because you just really, I laughed because I think of the AOL chat rooms. And that was the
beginning.
That was the beginning of it. And so, but anyways, yes, it has evolved quite a bit. I'm a fan of pick your favorite 2 or 3 and go all in on that, because Bill, there's, I don't know, 150 platforms to be involved on. It seems like there's a new social disc coming out all the time. I'm a fan of video. I've always loved YouTube. I'm a big YouTube fan. And of course, Facebook's always been tried and true ever since MySpace went away.
You're using Facebook?
Using Facebook, using a lot of YouTube and Instagram.
That sounds good. Randall, before we close this segment, what else do you want people to know?
The saying always is going to be, oh, well, is it a good time to buy? People always ask, is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to sell? And what I want people to know is it's more than just, is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time? We really, as a company and as someone who's been in business for many years, each situation is unique. We want to take the time to look at the scenario, find out what the goal is, what can we do to help you get from point A to point B. Our company motto is helping people find their way home, and that's really what it's about.
The more important question may be, is it a good time to start playing pickleball? That's for another show. But Randall, let's tell people how they can reach you. Randall Martin.
You mentioned socials. You can find me anywhere at Agent Randall, AgentrandAll, Randall at agentrandall.com, or by phone, 281-924-3990. 281-924-3990.
Thank you so much, Randall Martin.
Thank you, Bill.
As we continue, let's talk about something very important as it relates to homes, foundations. We have a company right here, Perma Pier, and with Perma Pier is Mitchell Murphy and Justin Matula. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon.
Glad to be here.
Well, it's awesome to see, and I think it's going to be very interesting for all of us to learn a little bit more about the home foundation, about your company, and when we should call a home foundation company. So first of all, Justin, let's tell people about the company.
So we've been around for about 30 years now. We service the entire state of Texas. We do not only foundation repair, but we do a lot of preventative maintenance as well. Some of the things that could help prevent your home from moving in the future, even if you don't have a problem right now: drainage, gutters, things along that line.
In fact, let the word go forth. I think that people should move and the home should stay there, and then we buy it, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so it's better for us to move. And so let's tell people your role at the company.
I'm the director of sales.
And Mitchell, your role is?
The sales evaluator down here in Houston.
In Houston. And of course, Justin, you're over all of Texas.
Yes, sir.
So I think that just that element alone is fascinating, because as we're in Houston, but the whole state of Texas, the first thing I'm thinking about is all the different soil types in this massive state that affect your business and affect our homes.
Absolutely. There's over 1,300 different soil types just in the state of Texas alone. What you have in your home could be different across the street. And so how your home reacts to what's going on in these lovely times that we have with the weather that we have in Texas, could be vastly different than your neighbor just across the street.
Well, especially here in Houston, we have so many different weather events. Mitchell, let's tell people as far as the distinctions. When you're here in the Houston area talking to would-be people that need your service, what are some of the things you tell them about Perma versus, say, another company?
We have, obviously, our lifetime transferable warranty. We have multiple things. What we do is basically we're giving you the most ammunition and the most information for you to make the best choice for your home. At the end of the day, you can have 3 or 4 different companies come out, but again, our goal is to provide the best information and most accurate, up-to-date information so you can make the best decision, again, for yourself. You're going to get a couple guys coming here to do a pricing, what it could be, but again, we try to one thing to level the home, it's another to address the problem and to sustain our work for a long period of time.
Because I would think, first of all, what are the signs that a homeowner would call and say, hey, Perma, I have this or that? What are the things that trigger the phone call to your company?
Right. So, the most common thing, you see cracks in the house. You see cracks above your doors and things like that, or doors not working, they stick, don't even close, things like that. But another good indicator would be the expansion joint on the side of the home, which is where the brick line meets, and you have the caulking of the crack it's designed to help the home flex. So when you start seeing that separate, that's a really good indicator that your foundation is actually moving.
Very interesting. I'm thinking, looking at my home right now, because I have a 2-story home. So the expansion joint is significantly tall.
Absolutely.
So if the expansion joint is not even from top to bottom, let's say, could be a problem.
Absolutely. It can expand from the top, or it can even expand at the bottom. It just depends on how the home is shifting.
Right now, when people get home, they're going to go look at their expansion joints.
Absolutely.
If they don't have a life,
absolutely,
most likely they're going to have dinner. But that said, yeah.
But that's one thing that a lot of people don't go on certain sides of their homes and things like that. They may go on the side where the gate is, that they go to the backyard, but they may not walk on that other side, so they may not ever see these things.
That's true.
That's kind of one of the things we like to do is when we do our evaluations, we take the homeowner around with us. We walk them around the perimeter of the home. We show them the things that we're looking at. That way we're walking through it together. It's a process we do together. That way they know what we're looking at, what we're seeing, why we're explaining the things we're explaining to them. So it's an experience of all of us together.
How long does it take for you to inspect the property or your people to inspect the property to know if there's a problem? So when theoretically, I would call you up and say, hey, take a look at my house because of this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. You show up on a given date. When do I know if it's a problem or if it's just natural occurrences of a crack?
About an hour. It takes about an hour for the whole process, but typically if it's something that's pretty noticeable, we can know it when we walk in the door.
You're in the business all the time.
We can walk in the door, we can feel the slopes, and you're in your home every day. So if your home is starting to tilt or deflect and things along those lines, you don't feel it. You're in there every day. You don't feel that at all. I'm sure, a realtor or something like that comes in, they can feel it too. And so we walk in, we can pretty much feel what's going on at that point.
And then at that point, you would go back and then quote the job and then present it to the person.
Right. We take elevations of the home using a zip level. We lay that across the home. They measure to within 1/10 of an inch to our reference point, and that'll tell us either up or down to within that 1/10 of an inch of how the home is shifting. And from there, that gives us the scientific data of how the home is actually moving.
And Mitchell, as you're here focusing on the Houston area, like it's a huge area, the fourth largest city, right?
Pretty big.
So as you're talking to people, what are the concerns or the things that you see here in Houston that maybe Justin's not hearing from people out in San Antonio, or what are the main concerns here?
Main concerns here are how much moisture we get compared to as you move west towards the state. It dries out. I don't know exactly how much more rainfall we get than them, but I know we get substantially more. And again, we talk about make sure we have the proper drainage for as much moisture that we get. Talk about the trees around the house, things like that to really ensure, again, addressing the main problem.
I didn't think about the trees, but I know in my home and especially my neighborhood and others, there's so many trees.
It's almost mandatory.
Right. What is, and we want to have trees. We want the house to look good and the neighborhood to look good. What role do they play in either hurting or helping a foundation?
Just proximity to the home, obviously the size of the tree matters, but what they're doing when we go through these extreme weather changes, when it dries out, they're taking extra moisture from the surrounding areas of your home, and it's just making, when we go through our seasonal changes, have a dramatic effect. If you have a tree as there's no moisture, that tree is going to do what it can to survive. So it's going to pull every ounce of moisture it can, and then again, that's going to affect your foundation and why it's going to start to slope one way or another typically.
And then, Justin, when the quote's presented and the person says, okay, let's do it. I wanted to use this money for something else.
Right.
That's more fun,
Of course.
than foundation repair. But I need it. I need for the home to be good to sell. I need it to be safe and all those things. Mm-hmm. How long does it take to do an average job in, 2,500 square foot home?
It takes anywhere from, it takes us at least a week to get the home started. We have permits and everything and engineering reports we have to pull to get everything scheduled. But once a home's started, we can get it done. Typically, an average job is about 8,000 to 10,000. We can get that done in about a day or two.
And to me, just the idea of going under the home and you're lifting it up to a certain degree. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
That seems like a massive undertaking.
It can be. It can be scary, and I think that's the number one concern we get is, can we live in the home during the process? Can we be around it? Do we need to take things off the wall? TVs and all the expensive artwork or whatever they may have around their home. And the answer is no, you don't. It's a very slow process. We use 1 full day to lift it, depending on the size of the job. We use 1 full day to lift the entire home. As we do it, they do it very slowly, about a quarter of an inch at a time. So you may feel some shaking here and there, but it's still safe to be in the home.
So then, from a disruption standpoint, I'm picturing around the home that there's quite a mess.
Oh, absolutely.
So when the job is done, what's it look like afterwards?
We try to put it back exactly how we found it. Sometimes when we have to dig the dirt up and things like that, the sod, you're going to see work was done. But we try to put the landscaping back and all that. So we try to leave it how we found it.
Well, it's certainly important for people to know about your company, and your company has been around for how many years?
30 years.
Okay, so people know. In fact, in my mind, Perma Pier comes to mind when I think of foundation, just because through the years of living here in Houston. So, but also the real estate community, other than homeowners, it's probably a great thing for realtors to know about your company.
Absolutely.
What should realtors know about Perma Pier?
We're a team to try to help get that house sold, right? We're there to protect it. For the seller standpoint, sometimes you have a buyer come in with whoever they have to do it, and it's good to have somebody you trust come in and get that second opinion and say, hey, look, this is actually the problem we have, or actually there is no problem at all. That's
what I want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. That's what everybody wants to hear, right?
No problem.
Our slogan is we call ourselves dirt nerds for a reason, because we don't just look at the simple data. We look at the full complex of the problem of what may or may not be going on. And we look at it as a whole. We don't just look at the data and look at the elevations and say, oh, well, you're down this much, now you need piers. We try to understand what's going on, what the problem is, and do it that way. Or we tell you, if there's no problem, there's no problem.
There you go. And as far as any other services you want to tell us about, you mentioned something about preventative. What can we do to prevent having to spend a lot of money on a foundation repair?
So to go back to the trees, it's called a root barrier. You can put a barrier between your home and that tree. It doesn't kill the tree. It doesn't damage the tree in any way. We just cut off that root system right in between, and that helps deflect the roots from continuing to pull moisture from under the foundation. Drainage is another big one, especially here in Houston with all the rain that we get. Standing water is a very common thing, and that's going to affect your home. A lot of people think of foundation as sinking and settling, but it also can do the adverse effect where it can abnormally heave because of a lot of excess water. And then you'll see your home heave and heave and heave, and that's a lot harder to fix than just a settlement.
And by heaving, you mean rising. Little bit. Okay.
Absolutely. And so drainage, gutters are very important for a home to help stop washing away the soils from the sides of the home. Those are the three that we really focus on. We like to protect the home.
And as far as Houstonians, what are the things should they know about Mitchell as you're out there? You're talking to people all the time, right? Right here in Houston.
So again, it's actually not a matter of if, it's pretty much when your house is going to move in this area. Now, it could be, depending on where we are, it could be a 20-year expectancy, it could be a 40-year, but a lot of these areas, the houses start to move at around the same time. 20, 25 years typically is what I'm seeing right now. A little further south, more towards the 40-year range up north. But again, that's why, again, we're going to say this may not be a problem now, but may want to install some gutters. This could be an issue down the road, things like that. And again, if there's no issue, there's no issue. But if there is, we definitely have the means to address and prevent, again, things from happening in the future. Again, it's the biggest asset you have. So we're just trying to protect it.
And if you're presenting a quote, let's say, or someone on your team here in Houston is presenting the quote, I'm sure the question comes up, well, what about the warranty? What do you tell them?
So we have a lifetime transferable warranty with our peers. We also offer various warranties throughout. We do polyurethane foam injections to help stabilize and lift. So there's different warranties we have. We have multiple options. But for our peers, mainly our peers that, again, what we're leveling the home, everything is under a lifetime transferable warranty.
And I want to tell you, the warranty is real because the home I live in right now, I was not there when they purchased the Perma Pier foundation repair, but I had questions about my home. And I'm thinking this has been, 7, 8 years ago that it was done before I ever owned the home. And I thought, well, I'm going to call Perma Pier and see what happens. And sure enough, you stood by the warranty. Fortunately, everything's okay, but you came out and looked at it and went above and beyond. So thank you for that. Let's tell people how to reach you right here in Houston.
If you want to call 877-753-2071, that's the perfect number to give us a call.
The number again is
877-753-2071. Permapier.com, and then we're also on YouTube and Instagram at Dirt Nerds of Texas.
Dirt Nerds of Texas.
Yes, sir.
Permapier.com. Thank you, gentlemen. Well, as we continue, it's time to go to the island once again and talk with Marty Hill from Galveston. Her company is called EXP Realty. Hey, Marty, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
We're glad to see you, and it's always time to talk about the island, especially Galveston, right?
It's always island time.
Always island time and real estate time at the same time. Marty, let's tell people about your company.
I am with EXP Realty, and it is a global brokerage, so we are pretty much virtual. Although I do have a network of associates in the League City, Clear Lake area that I network with, and I love these guys. They're available to answer questions or just collaborate with or celebrate big wins, all that kind of fun stuff.
Well, as I think people are interested in real estate to begin with, but certainly in Galveston because it's such a unique part of our Houston market. Let's give people an idea, first of all, what it's like to live, because you live in Galveston, I heard, what it's like to live in Galveston.
It is a whole different world. One of the things we like to say is we live in Galveston. It's near Texas.
Which is true.
It is very true. We live on island time, and it's very eclectic. It's a good mix of young, old, BOI, which is born on the island. We call ourselves IBC. We're Islanders by choice. It's just a really good, fun place to be and get to meet all sorts of people from all walks of life.
Were you born on the island?
I was not. I grew up north of Houston, but going to Galveston pretty regularly. My grandmother's favorite place was Guido's, so we had to go have seafood pretty regularly. So I've been there since 2007. So I've been on the island for 17 years. I've been in real estate there for 9. I was in healthcare before that. So there's a good number of experiences I've had there. I know the island pretty well. I did home health in my healthcare years, so I know streets pretty backwards and forwards.
Well, and I've been to Galveston many times, but not lately. My question would be, and maybe you know in terms of specifics, but how big is the island? How do you tell? It's not really that big, is it?
It is 32 miles long. At the widest point, it's about 3 miles wide. It is probably 50,000 full-time residents.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. However, we lost probably 10 to 15,000 after Hurricane Ike that didn't come back. So we're a little smaller than we were when I first got there. But lots of tourism. Our tourism has increased ginormously. I don't even know the right word to say. In 2023, there were over 8 million visitors to Galveston Island.
Whoa, say that again?
8 million visitors.
What?
In 2023. And we have now in 2024 opened another cruise terminal. So they anticipate that being even more.
I'm glad you mentioned the cruise terminal because I have not taken a cruise from the island, but it's on my list to do. And I know a lot of people that are Houstonians and even from elsewhere that let's tell people about, in case they don't know, you can take a cruise from Galveston.
You can take a cruise from Galveston. There are, I know of at least 4 different ships, companies that go through there. Royal Caribbean goes out of Galveston. Carnival leaves out of Galveston. There's now there's a Disney cruise that leaves out of Galveston. Norwegian is leaving out of there.
Have you taken a cruise?
I have. It's been several years since I've done it. I've taken quite a few, and I've not gone since the new terminal is open. But I have shuttled people back and forth, and they've kind of got their business down going through that new terminal. It's pretty smooth.
Well, I have a plan already, Marty. I've put in place, and that is buy a home from Marty.
Exactly.
You buy the house there in Galveston, take an Uber to the cruise line, and then next port of call is wherever it is.
Or call Marty and she'll Uber you. That's just.
Or you might give her if you buy a house. If I buy a house from you, will you drive me?
I'll take you to the terminal.
Okay, that's a deal. More importantly, do you play pickleball?
I am an addict. I play avid pickleball.
I knew if I probed, I'd find a pickleball player somewhere in this room.
I've been playing for a little over 2 years, and I am definitely addicted.
After the first time you played, did you say, hey, I want to...
Immediately.
That quick?
Immediately.
Okay. Meanwhile, on another show, we'll bring you back as we have the pickleball discussion. But that's awesome. So as far as people, when you sell to buyers, when you help buyers in Galveston, are you helping them, a lot of people, whatever that number is, from Houston that want to go to Galveston or have a second home, or are you helping people from out of state?
The majority of my clients are out of state. Not necessarily out of state, maybe toward the north end of the state. I get a lot of Dallas, Fort Worth, but I get a whole lot Oklahoma, Arizona, California.
Interesting. So what is it that draws them when you talk to them? And we know why you like it. We have an idea. But when you hear people that say, hey, I want to move to Galveston, they're talking to you on the phone, they say, line up some properties. What draws them?
I think it is, number one of the closest beaches to the vicinity that we're talking about. It is, and probably one of the more reasonably priced. If you travel down the coast and Gulf Coast and you're Florida or Alabama or Mississippi, they are all a little pricier than we are. And I don't know that there's as much to do there. We cater to tourism where some of those other places along the Gulf Coast maybe don't necessarily, or they're not as built up as we are, and still pretty reasonably priced. Our average home price in Galveston right now is running about $500,000, $515,000, which is much more reasonable than, say, the Florida coast. So I think we're just a more manageable market.
And as far as the tourist element of the business, are there a lot of things that are being developed that are drawing these people, or is it a marketing effort, or why do you see the tourist thing
It's
growing?
a little of both. The Galveston Park Board is investing a good bit of money into marketing to bring people to the island and to show them what all we have to offer tourist-wise. There are lots of hotels. There are lots of vacation rentals. There are a lot of things to do. There's a lot of entertainment. There's shopping, restaurants, and they're spending the money to get people there.
I would think also one of the things I would promote if I were the captain of the tourist business, I would really put an emphasis on the history of Galveston, because the history of Galveston is a big deal. In fact, Stewart Title started in Galveston, Texas, those that don't know, over 130 years ago. But it's a big deal to the United States, but it's a massive deal to the state of Texas because so much started in Galveston many, many years ago.
It did. First newspaper, first telegraph, first radio, first title company. Yes, first insurance. There were so many firsts, and there's such a unique history. We were the busiest port before the storm of 1900. When everything got moved to the port of Houston, Galveston was the hustle and bustle of Texas. There's just such a unique history. Indians, Jean Lafitte, the whole...
Pirates, everything.
We had it all. One of the fun things to do are the ghost tours in Galveston, because...
We're coming up on October.
We are. And the ghost tours are a lot of fun, and the stories are fun, but you get so much of the history of the island just from the stories they tell and from those tours.
In fact, I also hear about buses that they charter buses of bird watchers that go to the islands. They love the bird watching.
Featherfest, yes, that's a huge thing.
When is Featherfest?
Featherfest is in the spring. I want to say it's in April.
Okay, I want to go next time.
I'll get those for you. I'll get the dates.
We're talking with Marty Hill. The company is EXP Realty. You probably already want to buy a house just from talking to Marty in Galveston right now. I think we've wet the whistle.
I would love to help you.
Now, as far as buyers, we talked a little bit about the buyers, Marty. What about sellers? Do you run into, when you're taking listings, as far as a lot of sellers that say, okay, I've either had enough of the island or my job requires me or something else, I want to go somewhere else? How often does that happen?
It happens pretty regularly. Actually, that's a good portion of my business as well. Maybe they find out island life is not for them, or more often than not, they buy it as a vacation rental and they don't get to use it as much as they want to. And so they need to get out of it and invest their money elsewhere. That's a big chunk of it. A lot of it is downsizing. I get a lot of clients that, maybe they've been there for a long time, they've gotten older, they're having some health issues, they want to go back closer to family, that kind of thing. One of the biggest things is that everything is raised, and so stairs become an issue. And so as they get older, they don't want to climb up and down stairs, and it's just the way it is in Galveston. You have to be raised up.
That's a good point. A lot of homes are elevated on piers or whatever it is. So you have the piers, and then therefore you have to have more steps. I'm sorry, but I have to go back to pickleball. So you have a rating? Where do you rank in terms of your league?
So I actually am registered on the pickleball scales, the scores, whatever the groups are called, which I'm not going to bore you with now, but I'm right now at about a 3.25.
And how far does it go up to?
4.5.
So
I think before that is pro, or after that is pro.
You have some skills.
A little, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I have a feeling.
I continue to hone those.
Well, one of the things realtors and others do in any business environment, I would think, we talk about social media, and I'm sure you use social media, but it's these organizations, whether it's pickleball, whether it's tennis, swimming, golf. These are the things we use to grow our business and also to work with people that we enjoy being with, right?
That's right.
I would think that we could do a whole show on how pickleball helps realtors.
You could, or whatever anybody else's hobby is. That's just the natural, that's the draw, that's the go-to. My niche is island life. So if you want to live on the island, I'll show you all around it. And whether you play pickleball or not, I'm going to help you out. Marty
Hill. Marty, let's tell people how they can reach you.
You can reach me on my cell phone at 432-416-0684, or my email is Marty, MARTYE, sellsgalvestx@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube, but not so much on those two. 432-416-0684.
If you're a real estate professional, then listen closely. Cyber criminals are targeting our industry. They are impersonating real estate professionals, homebuyers, sellers, and title agents. Their goal is to gain access to your inboxes, computers, and clients so they can steal information and funds. Does your business insurance offset these risks? Not sure? Contact Stewart Insurance to determine if your business is properly insured. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance. With a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers, Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is with Stewart Insurance, John Bramlett. John, welcome to the show.
Bill, always a pleasure.
It's always great to talk real estate, insurance, and even touch upon island life every now and then.
Well, there's nothing better than going down to the island, so that's always fun to hear.
That's right. You go every now and then.
I go I've been to Featherfest twice, and the last 2 Decembers I've gone and spent several days just kind of decompressing and getting ready for the upcoming year.
Now it's insurance time, though, John. What have you for us today?
Well, I actually have some good news when it comes to insurance premiums. In the July 25th issue of the Insurance Journal, they reported that the Houston City Council had approved a plan that could drive greater discounts on federal flood insurance premiums as early as next spring.
That's phenomenal.
So it really is. So the City Council has established a watershed master plan And what that does is it will help the city improve its National Flood Insurance Program community rating system. So the National Flood Insurance Program has a volunteer rating program. So if a community participates, and depending upon what they do, it can affect their rating. And the better their rating, the greater discounts that they can provide residents of that community when it comes to national flood insurance coverage. With the program that the city of Houston's doing, it could potentially provide an additional 5 to 10% increase in the discounts that citizens of the city of Houston could receive.
That sounds pretty good. We could use a break.
We could use a break, especially considering what we've been through. So, as I said, it's a voluntary initiative that the National Flood Insurance Program has come into play, and what they're trying to do is encourage cities to manage their flood programs better and more efficiently, and also, being completely transparent. It also is a way for the National Flood Insurance Program to build awareness of that program and hopefully have more people get flood coverage through them. But they look at things like, are you doing programs to reduce or avoid damage of insurable property? Are you strengthening and supporting the awareness of the National Flood Insurance Program? And then do you have some sort of a master flood plan in place that can help minimize those risks? And that's what the city of Houston has said on July the 24th, that they approved that they would build that plan. And the hope would be that by April of 2025 that we could start seeing some additional discounts. Well, I think it's important to understand what the city is going to be doing. There was an interesting article in Houston Public Media, and they talked about the fact that several things the city is going to do. First of all, they're going to look at existing developments to determine how the water flow goes from there. They're going to look at the major drainage features and runoff conditions, so make an evaluation of that so they understand areas that we're strong and maybe areas where we can improve. And then how can we handle drainage for future developments? Because we're all, as you know, we grow and grow and grow here. So what are some of the things that they can do? And if the city accomplishes what they want, it should improve their rating. So the rating surface goes from 10 to 1. With the smaller number, the better rating. So right now, Houston is at a 5. And believe it or not, as a 5, residents of the city of Houston that have national flood insurance, they get a 25% discount. So their flood insurance could actually be a little higher if we didn't have that. But based upon what the city is projecting, they believe that rating might drop to a 4 or 3. And in that case, the discount could be, as I said, another 5 to 10%. So it might be 30 to 35%.
Well, you just helped me find a title for my new book that I'm going to be writing, and it's going to be called "As the Water Flows."
The water flows.
Because it is, based on what you're saying, it's affecting our economy, our economics. It's affecting how a home, whether or not it has foundation damage, it affects how insurance pricing is going to be.
Absolutely.
And we get our share of water in Houston, Texas, especially last week. I thought it was never going to stop raining.
No, we really do. And it is encouraging that the city is doing some things not only to help minimize the chances of these damages from floods, but also it's a way for, and again, this is for the citizens of the city of Houston, that they have a chance to receive some additional discounts when it comes to coverage from the National Flood Insurance Program.
So awesome. And it also reminds people, and it's reminding me, that my flood insurance premium is going to be coming due soon. So others that are listening, and I will just say this in terms of flood insurance, it was years ago, it was Hurricane Harvey year, and I remember getting my renewal for flood insurance. I almost didn't renew it, but guess what? I did, and my home flooded, so it really helped out.
Well, it does, and we can help you with establishing that coverage with the National Flood Insurance Program. If you would like coverage that's a bit more robust than what the NFIP offers, and we can help you find flood coverage through a private organization as well.
And that's one of the things I remember years ago. I didn't even hear about private companies that were insuring for floods, but now that's, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's grown and become an option for people.
It has. It's an increasing trend. Still about 70% of those that have flood coverage have it through the National Flood Insurance Program, but the private companies can provide higher liability limits, both from structure and content, than the National Flood Insurance Program can. In some cases, they can help with temporary housing costs. They can help with maybe if you have a significant number of valuables, there's a limitation on valuables in the National Flood Insurance Program coverage. So if you have significant number of valuables, maybe a private plan might make more sense. So just being able to sit down with an insurance advisor from Stewart Insurance and talk through what your needs are, then we can determine what's the best route to get flood coverage.
Indeed, that all comes under the heading of being properly insured by knowing your situation, knowing how much risk that you can tolerate on your own, and then where the insurance company comes into play.
Absolutely. So it's just a matter of understanding the risk you're willing to take on, and all risk is a probability of something bad happening. And then you've got that exposure. What's the monetary damage? So if you can offset some of that exposure onto an insurance company, that can be beneficial. So it's just a matter of understanding what you need, what fits your budget, and then being comfortable with what the decisions you make so you know what coverage you do and you don't have. And as you mentioned, if you understand that and you're comfortable with that, then in our world you are properly insured. So we work with clients all over the U.S. We work with families and individuals on their flood insurance, home, wind, auto, motorcycle, investment property. And then we work with real estate firms on their business insurance. So errors and omissions, cyber liability, general liability, business owners plans, workers' compensation. And again, we work with clients all over the U.S., both on their business insurance as well as individual and families' personal insurance. Well, I think it's important that you take the time to understand the coverage that you do have. You know, as we're seeing premiums increase and we're seeing some challenges in the real estate market from a business perspective, sometimes we're having to make decisions on the coverage that we have based on premium. And while that's important and it's good to understand what your budget is and what your limitations are, it's equally as important to understand, do I have coverage? Because there's going to be some trade-offs for lower premiums. And, you know, for example, on the home insurance, you know, is my coverage now primarily actual cash value where depreciation comes into play versus replacement cost? Do I have a water damage coverage? Do I have all four types of water damage coverage? So that's important to understand. You know, on the business side, you know, what type of cyber coverage do I have? Do I have coverage in case somebody slips and falls and hurts at an open house that I'm hosting or in my office? What happens if we damage some property at an open house that we're hosting? Do I have coverage if somebody feels like that I have not delivered the best that I could in my professional services? So understanding what you have and don't have is going to be critical. So they can reach Stewart Insurance at 866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827. You can learn more about us at stewartinsurance.com, or you can email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com. They should call 866-798-2827.
Thank you so much, John Bramlett.
Bill, always a pleasure.
I say it all the time, or at least on many shows, and that is to stay close to your Stewart Title business development person. We have two of them here today doing super work. First of all, Andy Entwistle is here for Stewart Title. Andy, welcome to the show.
Hi, Bill. Thanks for having me back.
And let's tell people the office that you represent and how you're helping people.
So we are located in the Pearland area, which is south off 288, about, I would say, a good 15 minutes from Houston. So not too
That's
far away.
That's if you're in a helicopter and there's no traffic. But
right. And, you know, there's all that fun construction that's constantly happening. Actually, Randall and I were talking about that earlier. I was like, sometimes it takes me a little longer to get out of the neighborhood. But, you know, it just means that more are coming down.
The city is growing in every direction. And for those that are not in the Houston area, you're pretty much, we're saying Pearland, pretty much south of the city, right?
Right. Yeah.
Maybe southeast a little bit?
Yeah, I guess you could say. And then honestly, it just keeps going down. I feel like every time I go on towards 518 or Broadway, there's just more and more houses being built, and it's just expanding.
And of course, you are serving at Stewart Title, helping. You're our ambassador, but we have about 15, I've lost count, about 17 people that do what you do all around the city of Houston. So if you're out there listening, you're a real estate professional, buyer or seller, you want to close at Stewart Title, we're covering all the bases, right, Andy?
That's right. We sure are.
And let's tell people again, your office is?
in Pearland, and you can always give us a call for any questions, 281-412-6900. That is 281-412-6900.
Thank you, Andy and Twistle.
Thanks.
And now, Island Life once again, but this time from a Stewart Title business development person. Her name is Maggie Green, right there at our historic Galveston, Texas office. Maggie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Bill.
45 goes right to Galveston Island.
Yes, it does. It sure does.
Why do you like Island Life?
Bill, I love island life. There's always something to do. It's beautiful. There's the beach. There's the water. Moody Gardens. I mean, there's just so much to do.
And as I said, we'll be reminding people, but I said that Stewart Title, it's a historic office because we started in the office that you go to work every day.
Yes, sir.
130 years ago.
Right. Yes, sir. That is correct. Started in 1893.
1893.
Yes.
What's that like when you go into that historic office?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's breathtaking. It's every day I love walking in there. I'll see something new.
And documents that date back to those very beginnings.
Absolutely.
Real estate professionals know all about Stewart Title in Galveston. If they don't, they do now. And you have also activities, and you're working with the community in many ways there.
Yes, sir. Stewart Title does a lot with the community. I'm on the board at the board of directors for the Humane Society there, representing Stewart Title. We also represent the Chamber of Commerce, and we are always having a lot of community work that we do, and it's just wonderful. I love it.
And how can people reach you, Maggie Green, like the color?
They can reach me at 409-356-3981, or you can email me Maggie, MAGGIE .green, like the color, at Stewart.com.
Thank you so much, Maggie Green. Let's welcome back Randall Martin. Once again, the company is CB&A.
I want people to know that we are more than just a realtor. We live in the community that we serve. It's an honor to serve the people that we are blessed to come across, and we are here to take care of you from start to finish. Again, it's just a true honor to be able to be in this business for as long as I have, and I don't plan on getting out of it anytime soon, Bill. Yeah, you can reach me coming in at 281-924-3990. Again, that's 281-924-3990.
And now back to the foundation guys. They are here. Justin, Matula, Mitch, Murphy.
You know, we've been around for a long time. We have a long-standing lifetime warranty. It's the lifetime of the home, not the person. So that home, as long as that home is there, that warranty will be there. Pass it on. If you have a home from generation to generation, that warranty will go with it.
So even if someone sells their home to the next person,
we're there to, again, not only level your home, but to sustain that for a long time. We're going to do soil samples. We're going to address the problems. We're going to show you. We're going to walk with you and show you again and give you the most information for you to make the best decision for yourself. Again, we could tell you all the things you want to do, but at the end of the day, it's your home. So you make the best decision for you.
Sounds good. And the website is?
PermaPier.com.
The phone number?
877-753-2071.
And now, Marty Hill, pickleball champion of the island. I might be exaggerating. Am I?
A little bit, yeah.
Just a bit.
But that's okay. I'll let you. I want people to know my philosophy is that all of life boils down to relationships and experiences. And that's what my goal is. That's what I hope to build with my clients, and to give them the very best experience with their transaction that they can possibly have.
Marty Hill, that's you.
You can reach me by calling my phone number, 432-416-0684. That's 432-416-0684.
Sounds good. Thank you, Marty Hill, and thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik, together with John Bramlett and all of us at Stewart Title and Stewart Insurance. We appreciate you listening to the show. Of course, simply go to stewart.com/radio. That's right. You can see and hear all the guests here today and on all our past shows simply by going to stewart.com/radio. We will see you next week. Thanks for listening.